Thales, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure, honored to have you here. It's amazing, as we start talking about it, Jiu-Jitsu, and when you started, how it started. We go back literally 22 years ago, man. And it's amazing the things, that we did together, how much we live, the good things we did, the bad things, the competitions, cutting weight, But the most important thing of all, dude, is how Jiu-Jitsu changed people's lives, and those are the things that I love to talk about, because it's crazy. So first, I want to ask, the question I ask everybody: how did you start it, and why did you start Jiu-Jitsu, and when exactly?
Well, everything started when I was 7 years old. In Rio, you probably know about this. There's the military schools there, and it's very common the kids doing judo actually before jiu-jitsu. So I started judo, was 7. Did for 2-3 years, and after that, a few years off. I think when I was 10, in 1990 or approximately area, my dad had a friend that was a police officer. He used to teach jiu-jitsu for kids. He had a very respectful school, small school but very respectful. And my dad enrolled me. And that's the first time I did jiu-jitsu. I did it for 2 years. I think I got a yellow belt or something like that. I don't remember now. But that gave me the base about what jiu-jitsu really is. A lot of competition between the kids, all that. And then I just stopped. Got into soccer, all the different things. I did taekwondo.
Did you play soccer? No way. There's no way you play soccer because you sucked.
I tried to. So I tried to play soccer.
No.
I tried to play soccer. I did actually taekwondo
tried to. That
for a
means
couple months.
Because he sucked.
I did capoeira as well.
Oh my God, no way.
Yeah, 1995 capoeira. Then I did taekwondo, and eventually...
Dude, that's pretty much exactly like I did everything until I found jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
Martial arts, they all have the same idea of respect, discipline, focus, all that kind of stuff.
And you kind of have that, like the eye, like a Japanese. You might have like Japanese in your family because you always tell like you have Italian.
You knew you were going to get it today.
Yeah. But then,
you always talk he has the blood of Italian, but I really believe, I'm a firm believer that he's got some Japanese because his eyes, fala que é italiano, porra nenhuma, japonês. Talk to me.
I love the Japanese culture though.
Oh, we do.
We do. So,
yes.
But then 1998, that's when I met Luis and Thiago, and then that's a cool story because my sister used to date a guy who unfortunately passed away years ago. He was
one of our students, like one of our greatest students. Yeah. His name was Joy. Joy was a badass.
What, down in Brazil?
Yeah.
Yes, he had an accident, but a horrible one, and he was amazing. He was just fucking amazing.
So he was dating my sister at the time, and one day, I think it was a weekend or something, he came by and mentioned something about jiu-jitsu. Like, oh, you do jiu-jitsu? Like, yeah. Where at? Oh, I turned this guy who just came back from the United States. He's Hickson students. Oh, Hickson students. That's pretty awesome. So he took me there, and that flame of jiu-jitsu that I had years ago just sparkled again, and started training. Became like very close with, especially Thiago, about the same age, and that was a mix of like friendship and leadership and brotherhood, all that kind of stuff together.
And tell me how you and Thiago met, like, because I know it was like this. Him and Thiago, they became like best friends.
Yeah, right away.
And because I'm the older guy, they're the younger one, so they really connected right away. And dude, all the crazy shit you can't even think about it. Driving, speeding. I don't know how they did not, kill themselves. So go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so Thiago and I, we got very close right away because, like we just said, it's about the same age. I used to see Luis more like a mentor, a teacher. Thiago was more like a like a brother, you know, especially because we have similarities in terms of like behavior or taste, stuff like that. So as we train between Monday and Friday, on weekends we just went out and did stuff
Party
together.
time.
A lot of party
Thiago,
time.
crazy party time. Crazy.
Oh, yeah. So we have like you use the funny thing about this, because if you get my and Thiago's personality, we're different, but somehow we always complete each other. You know, sometimes for good,
Like
sometimes
rice
for
and
bad.
beans. It was literally
Yeah.
rice and beans. Literally. Like, dude, there's no way. Like, they were together 24/7.
It was kind of funny because like we used to go in parties and stuff like that. Like, yeah, we're brothers. Like, yeah, we're as a brothers. Like, yeah, look at this. Look how we look at each other now. We don't look at all like
Well, Thiago's a dwarf and he's like, 5'11", so.
a sausage.
Porra, não tinha como, né, irmão? Era o anão e a salsicha.
Yeah, we used to be called that.
Era o anão e a salsicha, não tinha como, não tinha como.
It was a good time. So as we became like very close, I also train every day and just do everything together, especially on weekends. Traveling or partying or whatever it is. So those are good times. Those are good memories, and that help us like to bond and to have fun.
Nice. So you started in 98.
Correct.
Yes?
Yeah.
And then literally I think it was 2 years later, we used to travel a lot to São Paulo and any other state to go compete and stuff like that. But I know all the trips we did, they were amazing trips. We always had fun. A bunch of young kids going to São Paulo, stay in hotels. Like, we used to have the best freaking time ever, And imagine 15, 20 guys, young, crazy. So we used to have a lot of fun. But there was one trip that I really want to talk about it. This trip was in 2000. It was the Rickson Gracie International.
Invitation.
The international invitation. And we took 12, 15?
No, it was like, competitors was you, your brother, Rodrigo, me,
you,
Joy, David,
Rafael.
Maybe like eight competitors.
And there's more. Caralho, tinha mais.
No, acho que não.
There wasn't 7, it was 8 or... Well, Mr. Bean.
Não foi não.
Mr. Bean não foi?
Foi isso mesmo. Eu e David de faixa branca, Rodriguinho e Rafael de faixa
Joy.
azul. Eu, David, Joy de faixa branca, Rodriguinho e Rafael, Blue
Thiago,
Belts.
eu.
Thiago, Purple Belt, Luis.
Eu era brown.
People don't know that, but when I was white belt, Luis was a brown belt. So
That's how old I am.
So another thing is, I was joking around with Chris earlier here. In theory, I'm the third one in command here. Because if Luis is not around, Thiago's not around, I'm the oldest one.
Oh.
But just keep that in mind.
Just keep that in mind. So I remember that trip was the craziest trip ever.
It's pretty crazy.
But I have to tell you guys. You want to tell the story about the plane? So the story about the plane was pretty much like this. We're on the plane, and suddenly, I kind of like, I think you came to me, right?
I think I was, yeah.
I think you came to me and started shaking my shoulder, like, Luis. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what's up, dude? And he goes, dude, the guys took the airplane over. They took the plane over. I'm like, what? They took the plane?
This was before 9/11?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, thank God, that was way before. Yeah. So imagine, like, I totally flip out, and I'm thinking, what the fucking happened, right? And I'm already thinking, Thiago is over there, in taking the plane. They took off the cockpit, and they took the pilot and choked him out. So, and then I stood up because I want to see what happened. And then what happened actually when Thales goes, dude, let's go to the back. Let's go to the back. So when I get to the back, literally, imagine Jumanji, okay? You had all the Brazilians in the back. Dude, it was the craziest shit I ever seen because I got back there, I see Rafael massaging one of the flight attendant.
Yeah.
The pilot was getting cracked by Joy.
Yeah.
And Joy had no English.
No.
So
elongation.
So for Joy, he would think that every time you put Asian would be English.
Yeah.
So
whatever word you want to come up with.
He would say in Portuguese, elongation, which is stretch. And he'd go, elongation, dobration, estication, hugation. So everything, so he really thought, and he would laugh so much because he would look at me and goes like, dude, the gringos are understanding me. Yeah. I'm like, dude, they're just shaking their head, but they don't understand shit, right?
Was not even that. Like they are, well, besides massage, the flight attendants, most of them are hitting on them.
Of course.
24/7. They had...
Dude, the pilot was there. They were cracking the pilot's back.
But beyond that, they had most of the food that's supposed to be saved for later on. They had a lot of like, brownies, which leads to farts afterwards. All kinds of like snacks and stuff like that. That was a big mess.
So this trip was the trip. Like I know we had a lot of fun. I know you guys kicked ass. Everybody brought the gold.
Awesome.
Like you guys won. Everybody kicked ass. So it was great. So it was the Rickson Gracie. Fala, Fernando Faisano. Beijo, irmão. Tu tem que ir no podcast, hein, bicho? So what I want to talk about it too, tell them how was the you and Thiago, you guys bought the
scooters.
The scooters.
Yeah.
So you guys went to the McDonald's to actually get food.
Yeah.
Tell us the story.
So when we flew to LA, there was a time when the scooters started people start using them again as some sort of hobby, whatever. Mm-hmm. So we bought a couple of them, and we used to go all the way, maybe like 2-3 miles, well, maybe 4 miles from the place we're staying to not even McDonald's. What's the name of the place? In-N-Out or Jack in the Box, stuff like that.
With the scooter.
Not normal in Brazil. Like you don't have that in Brazil. It's like you gotta go there because that's the deal. It's like, oh, let's go there then. So like just use that thing for 4 miles. Like you. And
the guys barely speak English, right? Nobody.
Nobody at the time. I mean, not
so
nobody.
You guys,
except the Luigi Child, nobody speaking.
But then you guys got it in
the line, the car line.
In the car line.
Because that was cool. Like we have 2 wheels. Let's just be in the drive-through. And that worked out pretty good. That was fun. And the beginning, the people at the store, they didn't want to serve us because they thought we were joking. But no, actually, we wanted food. We don't want to go in. We have 2 wheels. You guys gotta serve us. And they did. But imagine like people not communicating well, trying to negotiate the terms of the meal. That was kind of interesting. So
I know. Like you guys were asking, but then the person wasn't understanding, and then the woman said, "I'm gonna call the cops."
She did it a few times because people started laughing, thinking that she was being nice. She wasn't being nice at all. She threatened a few times to call the cops. I think some of us actually showed her cash or something, and then she realized that it wasn't a prank. It was like we want actually food. We couldn't communicate the way she expected to. But
so these were the Brazilians in the U.S. So actually we went in LA in California. So just so you guys know,
worked out pretty good.
So that was actually our first trip, the international trip together.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, but I know before that you lived in Germany.
I lived in Germany for 1 year. Yeah.
Okay, school.
When I turned 18,
not related to Jiu Jitsu.
Not at all. No. When I turned 18, I asked my mother asked me, so why you went for a birthday? And at the time, she had a boyfriend that had family in Germany, and I was like, well, I want to go to Germany to learn German.
Wie geht es dir? Guten Morgen. I speak.
Good job. So, and I went there for a year. It was fun because that was the first time that I actually on my own, and but obviously compared to English, German is a little harder. I had a hard time to learn, especially because I was spending most of my time with Brazilians in Germany. Obviously, it didn't work out the way I expected, but it was fun. I travel a lot in Europe. Every weekend I used to go to a different country because I used to work for a Brazilian band as what do you guys call here? The guy who carries all of the instruments.
Yes.
Oh, like a roadie?
The roadie, yeah.
Roadie.
I was based there as slave, you know. But it was very fun.
It was fun because you're young and
I was 18. I was the only one who couldn't play anything at all.
Nice.
So the only thing I could do is just carry stuff, but it's still a good experience. And the same year I came back, that's when I started doing jiu-jitsu, and that's how I started.
A question: when you actually came in with Thiago so we came for the fights and everything,
Correct.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you guys came to the United States legit to come and you start training and working. So I know we back in the days we were already doing a bunch of seminars. You know what I'm saying?
So a couple of things between.
Another thing, because you used to follow us in a lot of places, like for seminars, you were able to travel with us.
Right.
So I think you came first couple times for seminars,
Exactly.
right? So tell us how was that? Like you used to come first for seminars and then eventually, you know.
So there's a time frame between 2000 and 2005 when I moved here. So Luis came to Wisconsin. He connected with John Hines during the 2000 Hickson Grace.
Joe Hines, you have to be in the podcast. We gotta
too.
make one podcast with you, Joe Hines. We're looking forward.
Yeah. So basically, Luis connected with John Hines, and because of that connection, Luis start coming to Wisconsin for seminars in Madison. I think the second or third time he came, he brought me along, and that's how I also connected with John Hines, became friends. That's the first time I was here. I had no clue whatsoever what Wisconsin was. I didn't even know it was a state. I knew nothing about this at all. The closest thing I knew about it was Chicago, and that was it. So what the hell is Madison or Wisconsin? I had no idea.
And let me tell you one thing really fast. So guys, Aaron Killick, what's up? We're waiting you in the house. So we're about I would say 20 minutes, 30 minutes now. So that gives you guys an idea. We'll talk about Thales' life, some fun stuff. He also worked with in Dubai for the army. We'll talk to you guys more. So if you guys want to see more, please check us out on YouTube, the Jiu Jitsu Legends podcast.
Yeah, if you don't mind, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, please. So this way we can keep doing. We did with some UFC, Juliana Pena, Lamas. We're gonna do it with another famous people, but also I want to talk to the people, that started jiu-jitsu that, didn't become a professional fighter, but it made a change in their lives and stuff like that. So that's the idea of the podcast. It's not just to have somebody that's famous, somebody that has name, but just, the normal people that love jiu-jitsu and have, great stories to share. What's up, Mac? Polish Mafia. I will look forward to see you guys. Check us out once again.
Jiu-Jitsu
Legends Podcast, YouTube and Spotify. Thales Blaso, subscribe and like us. Guys, big hug. Thales.
Follow.
Tchau, beijo.
Beijo, galera. Mais um pouquinho, se quiser ver no YouTube, The Jiu Jitsu Legends Podcast. Dá uma olhada lá, subscribe, like. Eu vou fazer algumas entrevistas com galera do Brasil, que está aí no Brasil com algum dos nossos faixa preta. Se Deus quiser, a gente vai fazer isso aí em breve. E, muito maneiro. Mazinho, Thiago Teixeira, Danusa. Tem uma galera aí que merece a gente saber a história aí. Valeu? Um abraço. Okay. Go ahead. Keep going.
Let's go back to where you were talking about Germany.
Yeah, so I was there for a year. A good experience. I could have stayed there longer, and if I had stayed there longer, my life would change completely. 'Cause I would never be here. I could have had a chance to actually marry a woman just for to stay there.
Yeah.
And I decided not to because at a time where I don't think it would be worth it to do something like that. And then I decided to come back to Brazil. Actually, the funny story about that, my dad one day, so back in the days, back in 98, wasn't as easy as communicate with other countries as now, with WhatsApp, with Facebook, whatever.
Right.
So I remember I called my dad, it was a Sunday night, and I was like, and I tried to talk to him, my sister was like, oh, Dad's not here, he went for dinner. I was like, okay, well, weird. I knew nothing about it. So the next day, my dad showed up in Germany with the idea to take me back to Brazil because he was somehow against me being there. So he convinced me to go back to Brazil with him, and that's how I ended up like moving back to the area that Luis used to teach, and that's how we ended up meeting. So that was that's how everything worked out for everybody.
So then you started with Luis then, right?
Yeah, so Luis gave me all my ranks, blue, purple, brown, black belt. So basically, between white and blue belt was about 2 years, then blue and purple about 5 years, purple to brown about 2 years, and brown to black 2 years.
Because that's what you're saying earlier, is that you could have been black belt sooner, Blaso.
I could have. I started dating a girl that actually is funny because that's sisters of Thiago's ex-girlfriend. So we started dating, and that just basically pushed me away from Jiu-Jitsu. Basically, I was just like doing things completely different.
Right.
Which now, obviously, older, you regret for doing that. But at the time, it held me back a couple of years of training. And Luis used to give me big grief about this, like, oh, he could have get you black belt early, but I mean, it is what it is.
100%.
Yeah, but I mean, it worked out good, but that was like life experience. Like I said, between I trained a lot between white and purple belt. When I became a purple belt, I started being more focused on teaching because that's when Thiago brought me here to help him at the monkey bar.
Right.
At that time, my focus started changing, less competition and more teaching. And
well, actually, I'm sorry that I'm interrupting you. I have a question that between white and blue, you were competing a lot.
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And I know you were competing, and I remember you got like #1 in the Midwest. That was blue belt, right?
That was a purple belt.
That was purple belt.
I was already here in the U.S.
Oh, that was
teaching
pretty
monkey
cool.
bar.
That's pretty cool. So
that one,
you know, one of the good things that it's important to understand, you know, that I really like it. That Thales always say like, oh, I don't compete, I don't do this, I don't do that. But at the end of the day, you know, I thought it was blue belt. So actually, by the time he was purple belt, he was already kicking ass. So you know, it's totally different than we expect.
Yeah. So, if you ask me how I did that, because I was managing teaching class and training myself, which is hard because Luis wasn't here anymore. Thiago at the time already went back to Brazil, so I was basically self-training, or if you even call that. Somehow I was finding ways to compete or to be motivated to compete, even though I didn't have like a teacher nearby to guide me there or to push me, stuff like that. But it worked out for a little while. Definitely when I got my brown belt, that's when my focus completely changed, and I was only teaching, and that was it. I did end up competing a few more times between brown and black belt, and which without not much success because I wasn't focused at all anymore. And last time I competed ever was 2 years ago in Paris at IBJF Paris Open. I don't know why, but let's go to Paris compete. I ended up like getting second place, and that was fun because I could feel the adrenaline again, and you know I was obviously in a master division, but it was good. It was a good, like, after so many years, oh my God, I can actually do it again.
Right, just to test the waters.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, I'm not denying it was fun. But again, I think even competing in master division, you have to be training often.
Oh yeah,
And,
oh yeah.
it's
but,
not, especially black belt division, master.
it don't matter.
It's pretty hard, dude.
It don't
It's
matter.
pretty hard.
Everybody's badass.
Yeah. So
And
everybody,
and once that whole competition kind of and I know what was the year that actually I know you were the founder of Fight Prime, which was it was great, and I know eventually you passed it to Master D, which one of
Yep.
our black belts too, and then you took off to Dubai, and so I want to actually let people know how was that, how did that happen. So I know. So when did you when did you open Fight Prime? And I know it was an awesome gym, but then eventually you got a great proposal, and then you decided to leave. So tell us a little bit of Fight Prime and.
so you gotta explain the context of
Mhm.
Fight Prime. Basically, Thiago left 2006, Monkey Bar. I was Thiago's right hand, and then Thiago left. I became the main instructor
The
as
man.
purple belt. So for 7 years, I was the instructor of a Monkey Bar.
Monkey bar.
Between 2005 2007, 2005 2012, I was the main instructor, the only instructor Fight Prime had. Monkey Bar. So I started thinking like, well, maybe it's time for me to open my own place. Maybe I should just be a business owner
Yeah.
as instructor. And that was the time that I stopped talking to Luis and Thiago for something very silly, but we did stop talking.
He did stop talking.
Well, yeah, yes.
We don't have to go there.
So something happened.
Something happened, and because of
it-
another person. But
Yeah.
those things. It was literally I would say a miscommunication between family, and that happens a lot. But anyway,
That's how I describe. Yeah.
yes,
So basically,
yes.
I decided to open Fight Prime. Okay. That's 2012. So I felt the need of owning something and be responsible fully for not just teaching but administration as well. It was a good experience. For 2 years, we had a lot of people there, a lot of students, all ranks, good environment. But obviously, the fact that I wasn't in good terms with my teachers, that was like a little bit of a sad aspect of my martial arts career.
Right.
So at the same time, I got somebody asked me to go to the UAE to teach the military.
Right.
That was great.
That was the beginning of the batch of people who are still there nowadays. And
what year was that?
14.
So you start Fight Prime,
2014.
and then you get the offer to go to Abu Dhabi.
Right. So 2012, Fight Prime was open. 2014, I decided to leave, and that was a big deal because the fact that I left Fight Prime was a chain reaction for people leaving Fight Prime after me and open different schools.
Right.
To become eventually competitors of Fight Prime and etc. But 2 years after I decided to leave, and I talked to David Master D to take over. He did very successfully. He ran the place and still run the place. But my heart wasn't here anymore for different reasons. So I decided to go to UAE. It was great. Because
and how long did you stay there?
I was there for almost 2 years. I was exposed to a lot of high level former world champions and Pan American champions, champions like just tough guys that I knew of because I always um, look up them because like they competing all the time. Everybody knew who they were. So I started working some of them, and it was fun because some of my close friends now also they are from that era that was in the UAE. But the life is different. I can if you ask me like for somebody who lives in the Midwest, living in the UAE is completely different. Everything is hard to adapt.
A lot of different rules, right?
Not just that, society is different. Religion, I guess, but society, of course. The laws and the landscaping, it's just desert everywhere. You work for basically the government because the person who owns Palm Sport is the Sheikh Tahanoum, the guy who created ADCC. And it was good. The experience was great, But if you ask me, like, you do it again, it's like, no, we'll do that again.
Yeah.
But I still have friends who live there, and for them, worked out pretty well.
Right.
There's a lot of competition there. The Federation of the UAE like spends a lot of money, invests a lot of money in the competition. The Sheikh basically determined that the military has to learn Jiu-Jitsu. It's not an option.
Right.
The kids in school must learn Jiu-Jitsu. It's not an option. And somehow that benefits the country and their people. And visiting Dubai is a great place to visit, definitely. Abu Dhabi is a great place to visit. But to live there is a little different. You have to have the mindset to live there, otherwise you struggle. I did struggle.
Right.
That was a little bit of
Yeah, how cool. I mean, that's pretty cool stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like you left from Brazil, went to the States, and then you got the opportunity to work, with the army, secret army or whatever that the focus was.
Right.
That's pretty badass.
It was pretty good.
It was, how was the experience? I mean, I understand living in any other country that is not yours. It's always brings, the good and the bad. Totally understand. But I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, I know also I will talk about the, the cops that, the work that you did with the cops and all that stuff. But it's so amazing because I know the guys that actually started in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, with the Sheikh and Nelson Montero and Carlos Valente. I mean, it's so cool. And then now you have all these guys, getting the follow-up of Jiu-Jitsu and how big Jiu-Jitsu got. You know what I'm saying? You started this as like a hobby and suddenly now you're making the live of, and now you're living in other countries. It's a big change. How was that? How was to have the opportunity to be working with, I think that's pretty badass stuff,
Something to be proud of.
Of course, that's why we have to talk about it. We got to mention this because, you're going to somebody else, army and teach them Jiu-Jitsu.
I used to work in a base called Sial Lahama, which is in the middle of nowhere. So.
Did you stay on base or did they drive you?
No, to make you understand how the dynamic works, basically, I used to live in a city called Al Ain, which is for them is like the sacred city because that's where the country founder was born. So Al Ain is fairly close of Dubai and Abu Dhabi, but smaller. And the base we used to work was like 40 minutes away in the middle of nowhere. So every morning you had to get up like at 3-4 in the morning to drive 40 minutes in this base and drive 40 minutes back. That was fun, but a lot of times we had to deal with new recruiters, basically young soldiers who was forced to take Jiu-Jitsu even though they had no clue what Jiu-Jitsu was.
Right.
Obviously, you had the guys with an open mind, and the guys who had a closed mind. And for the closed mind guys, you had to enforce, hey, you gotta do that.
Yeah.
One or the other, you're gonna do that. So, but at the same base that we were teaching, they're former Black Ops, Marines.
That's amazing.
That's because
I just to interrupt you for a second. I got invited by Borat.
Boring.
Is one of actually our really really good friend from Denver. He's probably like a major now, and he's one of the best friends we have. And he actually invited me. I went to Camp Pendleton in Cali, in San Diego. Oh my God! I mean, just to be able, to be at such a high level facility, that all their stories.
Right.
It was. Inside of myself, I was like, man, I'm so proud. This is, you have the opportunity to do some job like this, because normally we're teaching, athletes, and then we step it up, some UFC fighters, but most of the time you're teaching kids and, normal, which is cool, but then teaching military, it's something that I have a passion and I love it, so.
That was good too for me personally because I used to work in a group of 12 instructors, all black belts. Me and another guy were the only two that at the time that could actually speak English decent.
Mm-hmm.
And right away we became like the leaders of some of the companies because the fact we could communicate in English. And that was good because it gave me a chance to grow a little bit in the company. But at the same time, it was complicated. And I tell people this all the time, going to Dubai or going to the Middle East in general, for visiting is super fun. If you go to Abu Dhabi, super fun. Dubai, super fun. Kuwait, Qatar, whatever it is. But living that's different. You have to have a mindset to live there. Because that gets your skin. You are exposed to things that you're not exposed here.
Right.
And
Really?
after a week, 2 weeks, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months.
And when you say that, like you see some.
The way the locals sometimes treat other people who, especially people from Bangladesh or India or Philippines. Those guys they can be treated like shit, and that's just something that gotta be said because not all of them, a lot of them are respectful, but some of those guys they treat like shit. Imagine that's the thing. Imagine like you work in a gas station, you're pumping gas every day for people, and you're there like from 8 in the morning to like I don't know 6 p.m. Or 7 p.m. You get paid like $200 a month. How do you feel about that? So I see stuff like that every day. It gets your skin. Plus the weather is super hot.
Super hot.
Like
super
very, very.
It
very
was hot. When I was there, it was like, oh my God, it's hot. It's
A good analogy is think about this. Think about the winter Midwest.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very unpleasant. Now think about the summer in the Middle East. Like the opposite is as unpleasant as the winter here.
Yeah.
So those things after a while just get your skin under skin, and among other things, led me to depression. So I got depressed.
Really?
I was diagnosed with depression. Taking medications, seeing a psychiatrist a couple times a week, seeing a psychologist a couple times a week. At a point I couldn't handle anymore, I just left. I got my stuff and left.
Just packed up and came back?
That's all I did.
Did you go to Brazil or did you come back to the States?
No, actually, I went to Costa Rica for 3 months.
Really?
John?
Oh my
That was
God.
good. I stayed there for.
How was Costa Rica, dude?
That was super awesome. Costa Rica is a great place. Like if you want to be there for like just to chill or to enjoy the weather, that's a healing place. Like there's a lot of nature, beaches, forests.
Bitches.
Just beaches. Everybody's very laid back. The weather's super great.
Hey, I'm serious. I need to go to Costa Rica.
It's fun.
I really want to go have
There's
some.
one thing I regret for not doing that was to learn how to surf. Because surf is
How you didn't learn down
not at all. Like surf's a big deal in Costa Rica.
there?
And I regret for not learning how to do that. I could have done it many times. It's like, no. But looking back now, I was like, yeah, I should have done it because it's super fun and the
I
ocean.
thought I
is
taught
just-
you how to surf.
No, that one of the few things he didn't teach me how to do was surfing.
Oh boy.
But and then after that, I came back to the United States and been here ever since. So not playing a movie again, just let everybody know.
So then you came back here. Were you doing jiu-jitsu?
And-
Did you take a
and-
day off again or no?
And actually, before we go there, I want to actually, because we're talking about the the military and all that stuff,
Right.
and then I know you had Fight Prime,
Correct.
you passed to Master D, which is here today,
Mm-hmm.
and then you came back, and then you opened Rise Up,
Rise Up Martial Arts.
Rise Up Martial Arts, and then I want to talk about
Where is
that.
at right now?
That's in it's McFarland, but if you look at the map, it says Madison, but I guess Village of McFarland.
So basically Madison, Wisconsin.
Correct.
Madison, Wisconsin. So guys, Thales is teaching at Rise Up.
I've been teaching there since 2016.
So since 2016,
Yeah.
just check it out. Rise Up Martial Arts, once again in Madison. So you had, and I know that was pretty cool. And at the end of the day, I feel like once again, I feel extremely proud of you that the things you accomplish. And once again, like not everything is just you win a title or a sword or a belt or a medal. You change people's lives. You work in the military. You're helping normal people, and also you start working with the cops, with the police department.
Yeah, Dane County Sheriff
Dane
Department.
County. Okay, so talk to us a little bit about that because I know you got some like reward towards like a talk about it.
I have some students that are also good friends. They're deputies. Kyle McNally, John Motts, those guys they've been sheriffs for like a long time, and basically the department has aspects that has to be worked on in terms of like self-defense, especially nowadays.
Which is something that I want to talk about it
Right.
today. Like I
Definitely.
have a lot of cops, and
Definitely.
I really think I definitely don't agree that our cops have to go on their own pocket, on their own.
It should be mandatory. paid for.
Well, yes, they
Agreed.
do have. They actually
Agreed.
do have. But it's really. I'm not saying, guys. Please don't take me wrong. My whole idea is that I come from a military cop family. Like my grandfather was. And my uncle. So, but the entire side of my family, there were cops, right? In Brazil also.
Which is much harder.
Yes.
Right.
Well, it depends on the location,
Right,
of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
Just like if you're in South Chicago, you have some areas that is tough. But my thing here is, it's something that I totally don't agree, is that, I wish, the cops, they would have, I know they got the value, they got well paid. I just don't understand how they don't have jiu-jitsu in other police, departments, or, I know, once again, I know there's some people that do. I got invited before, to do many of those, but I always feel that there's so much lack of things that it could be done, it could be taught for them, and I would say the things that we do in jiu-jitsu, it would help a lot, and a lot of the stuff that happens towards death of a bad guy or a cop.
Well, not only to protect them, and then to
Yeah,
protect
of
everyone,
course,
but also for the mental.
of course, and I always say that a person that has that understands what you're capable of, you understand, you're comfortable of defend yourself, you're not probably gonna, dude. 100% the approach is different already, because I have cops that have been doing. For example, I had a few guys that they were young, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and dude, the stories that they tell me, it's like, dude, when they have a problem, they call me so I can, what I'm saying, like to deal. And today actually, everybody wants to be a MMA fighter. So you have a lot of, guys in college, they likes to drink and party, normal thing. But when you drink, you do shit. And everybody knows now how to fight and double leg and single leg and stuff like that, punches and kicks. So I feel like it should be mandatory to have in the academies that they do jiu-jitsu, or they would pay for the cops to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I always have that complaint from my guys that that's all they do, and we have to do it our own. And I understand we got paid well, you know what I'm saying, you should, but at least I would say a good foundation, because I know every time somebody, a bad guy or innocent that dies from a cop, they get all crucified, and once again I think a lot of the stuff it's not right, because I be in that situation, from the side of the cop family. And I mean, if you really stop the cop, literally take the cops out, man, it's mayhem. Like the order that we have and the beautiful world we have, it will be gone without the cops. So without order, you know what I'm saying, we're in trouble. Human beings are dumb. We know that. So how was that? And I know you did a great job. So please tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so basically, I had some students that are deputies. Some of them are master police and other departments. But they invite me from time to time to teach seminars. Sometimes for the SWAT team, sometimes for the regular deputy. Actually, I remember like a couple years ago, maybe like a long time ago, I actually even taught the University of Wisconsin Police Department. But the idea is, it's just very simple. I mean, you have to learn how to defend yourself without a gun. Sometimes you can't access your gun or your baton or your taser, whatever it is. They have to feel confident to defend themselves without any weapon. So yeah, I taught a couple times, actually no, more than that. And a lot of the guys, most of the guys, they always understand the importance of training. Doesn't mean necessarily they're gonna train, but there's a wake-up call for them to see, hey, I gotta learn that. Especially like a classic example, if you wanna win argument against anybody who don't believe in jiu-jitsu for law enforcement, start a guy to lay down and you mount him and tell him to get out.
Yes, I remember. Remember that seminar that you set me up? You set me up actually at Joe Hines' gym.
Yeah, Monkey Bar,
at Monkey Bar. And it was funny because we show a video of a guy, this huge guy, he's very strong. He took actually the cop down and mount and held his two hands on the ground. And it was funny because the cop on the bottom was looking up for this, probably 285-pound guy, and he's screaming, "You are under arrest!" And the guy on top holding his hand down, he's literally pinned down. And the guy on top looking at him going, "Sir, officer, please let me go." And it was so bad because the guy was holding the cop. The cop had no idea what to do. You know what I'm saying? And those were one of the things that I love to talk about it. And I wanted to bring some cop guys. And it's kind of hard because, they don't want to talk about it because it could put, their stuff in risk, their job in risk. But we can't talk about it. So I really want to bring for the attention of, guys, if you're a cop, if you know the friends, look for a good jiu-jitsu gym. If you're in the Madison area, you have Thales in one side of the city, and then you have Prime Fight on the other side. So we have space for everybody. And once again, at the end of the day, we should give much more, attention to the cops and give them more tools, not only to defend themselves, but also to be able to defend, the other people. Because once man, it makes it a lot easier. The self-defense part.
The law is being changing. I mean, more and more departments incorporating.
I think so too. I really think so too.
Jiu-jitsu, or not necessarily just the grappling in general, and their academy and stuff like that. It's changing slowly, especially when you have obviously naturally have more cops involved with jiu-jitsu outside the department, and they're gonna eventually bring that into the department. So that's
It's
a,
something that would
that's
be,
a chain reaction. Obviously, they're gonna,
I feel
which is
like
good.
yeah, at least I feel like a lot of the guys around my gym, like I have
Oh, yeah.
Schomburg, Hoffman, Elk Grove, you know, apparently like Thiago's in Barrington, LCC
Yeah.
Barrington, I'm LCC Schomburg. So you know, we all the more and more, you know, are actually coming, and it's
Totally.
pretty cool to be able to help and stuff like that.
Totally, yeah. I mean,
So you say you got some reward. What you got, like a letter from them?
I got a plaque of the name of the award is I think it's a Dane County Citizen Award or something for teaching the sheriff department, and
That's pretty
Sheriff Mahoney, who is the actual sheriff, the political aspect, the sheriff is a guy who gave it to me. It was pretty cool. I have that held, and I rise up, and that's something that I'm proud of.
That's what I'm
Because,
saying.
Like accomplishment.
Yeah,
Exactly,
that was-
and
that was a
that's
big deal
it's
for me.
extremely important. And once again, man, you know, the whole idea of this podcast is to, you know, to show people that, you know, you were a kid that we always say like you didn't leave the house, you went to private school, you know, had the
Right.
life,
Right.
but you were not the kind of kid that was outside and fighting and stuff. So you were like kind of like more closed for the
Mm-hmm.
world. I mean, you know, like any kid that, you know, loves video games and stuff like that, you know, and then
I was a typical grandma's boy.
yes, and suddenly
You
you
don't
have
say
this
that.
kid that, you know, started fighting jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
you start competing,
Yeah.
you start traveling. Somebody that would never leave the house now is traveling Brazil, you know, all over and knowing the world, and then suddenly now you start going to the US, and you know, and I mean, how cool is that, you know? And I always say that, man, I have to say so much thanks for Halil Gracie
Oh, yeah.
and Hickson Gracie. You know, of course, for my parents first and God, but you know, for the jiu-jitsu dads that I would call, you know, Halil, because without Halil, Hickson wasn't there. But you know, I own everything, you know, to God first and my parents, but you know, I was very lucky to be able to learn jiu-jitsu from the source.
Right.
But then I was also able to change your life and many of my black belts. And once again, that has nothing to do with a medal or a belt or a trophy or a sword, which is cool. It's all reward from competitions, which is great too. But I want to put it up, you know, here on the table that there's a lot more stuff that are very amazing, you know, that has a lot of value, you know, that we bring to the table. People that had, you know, that were obese, people that had depression, people that, you know, we had somebody here that before, you know, saying like, hey, I was ready to kill myself, you know, or, you know, like João that had diabetes and, you know, because of jiu-jitsu, he lost 45 pounds and literally he gained life. So I always like to bring it up that, you know, everybody wants to see the champion and that stuff, but dude, jiu-jitsu changed the world. It changed people. You know, we are able to have this tool, you know what I'm saying? That with this tool, we can change things. And I heard Hickson one time saying this to me, and, you know, I kept that to my life. You know, it was many years ago, maybe 20 years ago, but I think it was amazing. Was, you know, he goes like, dude, my dad, and this is my words, okay? Of course, he, you know, he's such a master when he says, you know, it's just amazing words. But in my understanding was, you know, why are you gonna come to this world and be just another number? You know what I'm saying? We are blessed that we had jiu-jitsu in our lives, that not only changed our lives, but we had the tool to actually go out there and change so many people's lives. I cannot count the amount of people that I changed their lives. The amount of people that because of my jiu-jitsu, okay, today they live from that. They can feed their family. And it goes on and on because that guy goes here and goes that. And seeing that, you know, seeing where you came from and what you did and where you are, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, You know, it's priceless for me because I feel like I'm like your dad too. You know, an older brother, but it's really priceless to see that you were not just another guy that came to the gym and took that for granted. You went there, you got there, and you made a difference in people's lives, you know, and of course in your life.
Right.
And I had to put this out there because, like I said, I watch Helio. It's like how amazing. Sometimes we don't credit ourselves, or sometimes we don't even think this way. That dude, this is amazing. We came to this world and we are able to make good things, to help people, to save lives, to get people out of drugs. And that for me is priceless, you know?
Yeah, but for me, it's like, I think if you ask me, the most valuable thing that my teacher taught me was confidence. Like the Jiu-Jitsu gives you the natural confidence, and I'm sure Hickson taught you also confidence. Hideo taught Hickson confidence, so on. But one thing that people don't understand about martial arts, especially I would say especially Jiu-Jitsu, you gain a lot of self-confidence when you start training, and that can be applied in any aspect of life, not necessarily a dispute or interaction, but you became naturally more confident. You can solve problems or you can face things. When you're not winning, you don't just be scared. You go ahead, well, I'll give it my best, and I'm not afraid of that. Especially it comes to obviously the physical aspect, defend your life or defend somebody you care. But if you ask me, then that's the main tool Jiu-Jitsu gives us confidence. It gives people confidence to face things. I can speak for myself. Definitely changed my life. I was an introverted person. I was I wasn't very social. Not that I'm the most social person, but I was shy.
Right.
I was very, very, very skinny, like without any muscle, any tonification on my body, and that also changed. Was like I said before, it's a pool of things that change your life. All of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, actually, I can actually be a better person and make things better for myself. When I tell people every day, is like, if you learn from me or if you learn just from anyone else, one thing you have to always look for is to gain confidence on a daily basis for anything in life. Jiu-Jitsu gives that people. If you start paying attention when you teaching, interacting to your teacher or other people around you in the Jiu-Jitsu gym, and after that, you see like there's a lot of confidence by learning armbar, learning how choke somebody, because you think about, well, I can't hurt somebody if I want.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the thing that Hideo always said, like, well, why am I gonna fight you if I know I can mess you up?
Exactly.
Is it worth to fight you? No, it's not worth it to fight. It's not worth to hurt you, knowing that I can't hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Those things, that's a powerful tool people have to understand and have to observe when they learn Jiu-Jitsu from anybody. So that's where I learned. I'm sure that's where Luis learned, and eventually Hickson learned. So that's something that I try to pass to people as well. So
We good? Good?
Oh, yeah,
Yes?
sure.
Yeah? Okay. We got over an hour.
Yeah.
All right. So, Thales, it's a pleasure.
thank you.
Thank you extremely for coming by, taking the
Of
time.
course, of course.
I just make sure, you pass it along. We'll do a few also in Portuguese, because a lot of people were just like, as I was answering, guys are like, dude, when are you gonna do one in Portuguese? You gotta think about the people here in Brazil. So we're definitely gonna do some in Portuguese too. And that would be super cool also. So once again, thank you for
My
being
pleasure.
here. Congratulations for the things you accomplish.
Thank you.
For the man you have become.
Thanks.
And it is really it's a gift for me that you came into our lives, and I was able to teach you something valuable in life, and I know that it's priceless. Our friendship, we're not friends, we're brothers, from a different mother, but literally. I remember the times you come to my house with us, 4 in the morning, my mom would be cooking for us, and how much my family love you and how much your family loves me. And once again, it's a priceless thing that the day I close my eyes for good, I will know I made a difference in people's lives, and I was able to, to give, the world, a better option for a lot of things. I think if people like you, like me, like Chris, like Master D, people that are able to touch, people's heart and people's way of living is extremely important in the world that we live in today. So once again, thank you so much for being here. Please, if you guys check us out.
The Jiu Jitsu Legends podcast. We're up on YouTube. Check us out. Like and subscribe if you don't
Please like and subscribe so this way we can have many more, and we will.
And anywhere you can download a podcast, go ahead and check it out. Spotify, iTunes, Anchor, all the sources. We're up on everything. So thank you, Thales.
Yeah.
Once again, also, do you want to give the address in Madison? Do you have that address or no?
I get it for you.
Get it for me, please. I forget about my own address.
Yes.
I think it's Vogues Road, Suite F. What's the actual number? I haven't used that number in a long time. I just want to take the chance also, once we're here already, I think it's important for people to have connection and respect for their teachers, okay? I can say my experience, how hard it is for me for about 4 years not having my teachers nearby. There's nothing beneficial about that, okay? That's one thing that had to be said. And you have a teacher, make sure you give the respect that the person deserves, because you have to have a guidance, you have to have a leader, and that's how it goes for everybody. If you want to be successful in life, you have to understand that chain of command, or have to understand that there's somebody who taught you and spent the time teaching you. And it happened to Luis, I'm sure. It happened to me a couple of times. It happens to everybody. Who teaches and have students. Obviously, not everybody's like him, who's good, very good, but in general, you have to respect the teachers and understand that they take the time to teach you something very valuable, especially when it comes to jiu-jitsu, martial arts in general. It's a deep bond between master and the person who's learning from that individual. People don't understand that, take for granted, and then you get disappointed.
Too much.
Yeah,
Yes,
you get disappointed. And again, I can speak about my own experience being a student who made a mistake, and also be a teacher who had to be disappointed to others.
That's normal. That's life. When you deal with people, that's what's gonna happen. So
but it's important for people to understand that and listen to what I just said that way.
for life, my friend, for life.
Things
Vou
are-
terminar aqui, tá? Por causa do tempo.
Valeu.
Alright guys, so once again, I want to say thank you for Thales Blaso, and we want to talk about the address of the gym.
Yeah, it's at 4801 Vogues Road, Suite F, Madison, Wisconsin,
There we go.
53718.
Go there.
Alright, so once again, thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure, it's an honor. You're the man, black belt. Galera, eu queria agradecer esse cara que começou jiu-jitsu lá desde cedo e hoje já veio para os Estados Unidos, foi para Dubai, Abu Dhabi, treinou a Força Militar, treinou polícia e hoje está aí um dos grandes faixa pretas nossos. Então, Thales, muito obrigado. Check us out on the Jiu Jitsu Legends Podcast. Checa, galera, YouTube, The Jiu Jitsu Legends Podcast. Um abraço de coração para vocês. Obrigado por tudo. Valeu pelos comentários. I love you guys.
Valeu.